Hi, welcome to Port Drachma. This is a planet coaster project that I've been working on. It's going to be kind of a piratey tropical theme park. Um, that first building you kind of saw as we kind of flew into the park was the entrance building, kind of like a little hacienda or kind of plantation manor with that tropical vibe. It's kind of a funny story. I did some test recordings on this park and of me building that original building, that first building at the beginning, and the video messed up. It was really bad. Obviously, tests never go the way they should sometimes, so that footage is gone. So you joined me here as I'm kind of putting together these individual kind of sections for what will be a giant kind of pirate fortress. Been using the sandstone pieces, which I haven't really used that much. I know they were like in the original alphas, and I used them back then, but I never really got into using them since then. So, back in December when this game came out, I was just kind of playing around with all the newer stuff that I hadn't really messed with. So I'm kind of going back to I don't know, guess you could call it back to the roots with the sandstone pieces, and kind of just sticking them together in a way that'll make them look the best. While they kind of have the same texture all over, for me it was important to kind of get different layers built up on that. So that's why you'll see me use that kind of archway with the door in it, but then cover up the door, and then use the little individual pieces to kind of add those like slopes and different layers on there. So here's just a little tower that's going to kind of cap the corners of each of the little sections. That tends to be the way I build, is just build all these little individual kind of segments that I can copy and paste and then add together. It really makes it a lot faster. And a lot of these first videos is me just laying out the groundwork. So getting this stuff done, that way I can just go over, grab it, slap it on. And then at the end of the project, I'll probably go back and kind of delete things, change the way it looks, just to kind of add some differences and variations throughout the build so it doesn't look super samey. So here I am just kind of testing to make sure they all work together. And then I'm going to go to the next section, which I believe is kind of a shorter rampart. So the one section with the kind of like the grate window in it, the metal grate window, I should say. It's a fantastic window. Is like the taller section of the fort, and this will be kind of like a lower rampart that you can kind of walk out onto. Like here I am just kind of using about the same pieces, so it looks pretty similar, and then testing to make sure they'll fit together and look okay without looking too like. I'm still kind of iffy about those actual like crenellations on the top there, where that sandstone bit pops out. It kind of just looks like it's hanging on, but I don't know, I might change that later. Like I said, it's going to be a pirate fort, so I was testing to make sure like proportionally it looks right, so that these guys could actually hide behind these little barriers, but then still be able to pop up over. Probably not super necessary, but for me and the way I like to build, it had to be that way. So I readjusted the heights there, kind of changed the way the inside looks a little bit. Those flickering surfaces there really bother me, so just flip stuff around until it stops, or just ignore it and hope it goes away. Alright, so here I'm going to start laying out the actual layout of the fort. So I was kind of basing it off. I look at some concept art every once in a while if I'm really stumped or don't know what I want to do. But this was one of those things that I was really looking at, like star forts, especially in like the Caribbean kind of colonial fortresses that they had set up to kind of help guard the harbors and everything with like all the trade and like sugar trade and things like that. So that's kind of what it is. I didn't want to get too into like making different buildings and adding different angles in, making like a true star. So this is still very cubic, but I think it still has some of the same qualities that those old Caribbean fortresses have. So here I'm just copying and pasting that. I made sure to put like little lanterns in each segment because those windows are still visible from the outside. So having light in there is going to help add, like I was talking about earlier, like variation and depth to the building. So needed a way to get out onto these little ramparts closer to the water. So I'm grabbing that same section, adding a little rampart in front, and then building out like a little door that I can copy and paste in certain areas, which was kind of pointless because later I'd completely change it again. But that's the nature of this game. You do something and then you go back to it and say, no, that doesn't look good. I want to change it back. So that's what I did. But here I put these in just to kind of give me an idea of what I want it to look like. And you'll see me kind of cruise down these hallways. At this time, at this point of the build, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with them. And later on you'll see what I do with them, which I thought was kind of nifty. But I zoom in and out a lot, which is really frustrating in edits that I'm noticing now. But so here on the corner bits, I might change this still because looking at it now, I still don't really like the corner. But I think I test later like the tower segment that I made to see if that would help kind of cap those off and make it look less, I don't know, rigid or it's like something's missing there. But I don't think I get to it here. And so here I'm kind of pulling up the ground because my idea is that it's kind of like a layered fortress, right? So there's still some ground, there's still gonna be some plants in there. And then here I go zooming through the corridor again. And here I'm just getting kind of frustrated with the pathing, or the floors, I should say. Technically I guess they're called roofs, but in the game, but whatever. So I come over here to the right side of the fortress and kind of lay out the side of it. Yet another corridor, of course. And fixing those duplicate lanterns and the cabling and everything. Getting rid of those walls that pop up because I copy and paste it. And then pull the ground up normally. So like I was saying, this is kind of a huge project. Hopefully I get enough time to work on it because I still, have a full-time job and everything. So I only get a couple hours a day to work on this kind of stuff. But I've been loving this game. I think I'm somewhere like 350 hours or something. It's ridiculous. Probably shouldn't say that out loud, but I don't care. Here I am. I'm working on a tower segment. So like I was saying earlier about the layering, I want to make sure I get a lot of variation, kind of different faces, surfaces on the tower. Since it's made out of the same materials, I think when I put caps on all these towers later, I will add a lot of more like organic feel, so like timbering, planks, things like that, to kind of add that more warm feeling rather than it just being that cold stone. But at the same time, like, it's a Caribbean fort. They were there basically to do one purpose, and that was, to fire cannons off of and keep the town safe or whatever, or the trade route safe. So I guess they didn't really care too much about aesthetics, but I do, and it's my park, so I'll do whatever I want. So here I'm just playing with ideas, kind of trying to get the right, picture in my mind's eye, what I want it to look like. I just did some weird copy and paste move that was totally unnecessary. But again, I'm just kind of building the tower up. I had these windows in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but then these like they kind of look, I don't know, maybe kind of Middle Eastern, Arabian still. But again, my park, I can do whatever I want. So kind of makes the tower look angry too, which I thought was kind of piratey. It was kind of in the theme. So here I just kind of add that same, castle top, fortress top to this. Have to respace some stuff, but in the end it looks nice. Alright, so I copy, I make the whole tower, I copy the three other faces around. I leave like the roof off because like I was saying earlier, I kind of want to add maybe a building on top of one, or I think I add a tower later on to one of them, like a bell tower, just one of like the prop pieces, because I feel like it kind of like a little alert tower. This is probably where, yeah, this is where I kind of get frustrated with the way those pink doors were kind of sticking out like a sore thumb. And then I was also thinking about having this be less like a scenery piece and actually like an interactive area that guests can come and walk around through these corridors that I like to zoom up and down so much. So I want to replace the door, and I'm not really sure what I'm doing at this point. I think I try one thing. I might have cut it out of the edit, I'm not sure. Yeah, because I don't use these archways. For one, that weird crack on the left of the doorway, I don't know what that is. I was messing with it for a while, so if you have an explanation for that, I'm just gonna leave it up to, I don't know, pirate ghosts. That sounds like a dumb enough idea. I guess it's not too far-fetched to think that there'd be cracks in the foundations of this, you know, old-ass pirate fortress, but it was still bothering me enough to not even go with this initial design. So here I am just kind of trying to trim it out, kind of make it stand out a little bit better. In the end, I think this little design that I'm working on right here is just, I throw it out the window. It frustrates me, especially like there where that top of that little trim is like cutting into the other sandstone, which is bizarre. And then here, like those little corner bits that don't have any kind of trim there, I'm just like, yeah, screw this, get rid of it. I think I go for the old archway columns, and then I bring down that little trim piece because I kind of liked how it carried along that arch. It didn't line up perfectly, which is still bothering me, and now that I just saw it, I'm triggered again. But I thought it kind of like the sight line, it carried it along. And I thought about adding a pop of color here, but in the long run, I think I added a canopy, which was nice because it added that organic feel to the build. Here I'm just dicking around with different prop pieces to see what I could put up there. Like, oh cool, an octopus, that seems nautical, let's just stick that back there. Whatever, you can do that, it's my part. And at the end, like that's the kind of stuff like I'll go back to and look at and realize, oh that's weird, but it'd be cool here, just because I'm farther along in the build at that point. So here I am putting the canopies on. I didn't really know which one. I kind of like the way this one looks and like the size of it better, but I thought it looked too nice to be on some old like rickety pirate fortress. So this one was cool, but then I was like, corrugated steel, that seems kind of odd too. I don't think they would have used that. So at the end I just went with this one. I wanted it to be red, and then I did red and black, and it looked too like Scottish, so then I just went all red and it looked nice. And then this is me freaking out that those like supports didn't line up or look like they were properly supported on that archway. So I added these wooden columns to kind of again add that organic kind of less cold feel. I think I changed it to more of like a red wood, yeah, an orange kind of wood, which helps trim it out. And then I think that's about where I kind of end this. The next episode I kind of copy these around and go from there. So thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you want to see more.